That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Jurassic World Dominion, aka Do Re Mi. Okay.
Keep going.
AKA Do-Si Do.
Dodo Bird.
Dodo Bird.
That's a better title.
Which Universal is releasing June 10th, 2022. It is the fourth film directed by Colin Trevorrow, his return to the franchise, if you will.
This should have been called Jurassic World Locusts.
Mm-hmm.
But
because
anyway.
Those are the...
They're the star of the show. So the director, what else have they done besides the other Jurassic movies?
Okay, well, I really like his first film, Safety Not Guaranteed, starring, I think it's Aubrey Plaza and Mark Duplass back in 2012. And then immediately he was tasked with directing Jurassic World in 2015, which is the reboot of the franchise. I didn't bother to relook at what happened back with that, but I remember reading a lot of articles about his attitude that might have...
That sniffing, I thought you were going to say his cocaine problem.
I remember reading that he's very egotistical, but then, it could just mean that he cares about his craft, so who knows. But, of course, J.A. Bayona directed Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the 2018 follow-up. Strangely, Trevorrow directed a short film that's part of this universe in 2019 called Battle at Big Rock, which I haven't seen, starring Andre Holland, about a family that confronts these dinosaurs that are out in the wild after the end of the last film. But he also directed a really bad movie in 2017 called The Book of Henry, starring Naomi Watts, which I really recommend people never forget about.
Okay, the basic story. The plot is busy. Unnecessarily busy.
Yes, it sure
is.
So
let me try. Okay. There's like a pharmaceutical company called Biosyn, and it's run by this Tim Cook looking man.
Campbell Scott.
And he's nefarious. He wants to rule the world. So he has created these genetically altered locusts that are huge. They're the size of guinea pigs. Mm-hmm. And they are eating all of the crops, except for crops that are from Biosyn, GMO. Which is obviously a problem because if these locusts are eating the food of the cattle that we eat, it's just creating a huge supply chain issue. Okay, so there's that. Laura Dern is back in the mix because she's a forensic...
paleobotanist.
Whatever. And she has clocked what's happening with Biosyn. Mm-hmm. So she goes to Sam Neill and says she needs him to help her, which I don't quite understand why he needs to help her.
Is it because they're old friends? Well, she says it because he has clout, basically.
Oh, she says because she needs a witness. Mm-hmm. So she's like, hey, the two of us, we need to get into Biosyn and get a DNA sample from the locust they must have there, and we can link them to the locust in these crops, and then we can prove it. Luckily, Jeff Goldblum is back in the mix, who I think is the best part of the movie. He is working for Biosyn as a guest lecturer. And he is in cahoots with Tim Cook's assistant.
Mamoudou Athie playing Ramsay.
Who's the only one who I think's performance seems
He's usually quite good.
Yeah, he actually gives a good performance. Jeff Goldblum's the best, but he's being funny.
Comedy is a performance.
No, but I mean
Sure. Yeah.
Mamoudou is actually acting like he's in a dramatic movie.
Yes.
He's actually acting. So the four of them are in cahoots then to get a sample of the locust, which they do. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you have Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt. They have essentially kidnapped that girl from the last movie who we're made to understand is a clone. Mm-hmm. And
Maisie Lockwood.
Tim Cook wants her because they need to use her for some research to alter the locust. I was so confused with that part, and we can get back to it. Mm-hmm. But Biosyn kidnaps that little girl. So of course now the plot line for Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard is to go get her. So everyone ends up at Biosyn, which is like this island that's like Jurassic Park, where they have all the dinosaurs.
Or Isla Nublar or whatever. The same concept. Yep.
So obviously they rescue the little girl. In the process, she learns she's not a clone. She actually had a mother who birthed her. So that feels good to her. Laura Dern gets her little proof about the locust. And that doctor, the Asian man,
Played by B.D. Wong.
Henry
Wu.
He keeps saying, like, if I can just get her and that little velociraptor Blue who Chris Pratt was training, that creature had a little baby.
On her own.
So this Dr. Wong keeps saying, I need the little baby velociraptor. And
B.D. Wong. Henry Wu, played by B.D. Wong.
He's able to formulate some locusts to kill the other locusts, so I guess we're good on that end.
So they die out within a generation, yeah.
Biosyn is destroyed, like it literally like they press a button to help it self-destruct, and then the end of the film is, oh no, actually, it doesn't self-destruct. The locusts catch on fire at some point, and that was stupid, burn down the damn thing. And then the ending is, we're told that moving forward, we need to coexist with these dinosaurs, which makes no sense, and we can get into it. Okay. Should I just start going through my notes? The opening of the film is Bryce Dallas Howard is like a rogue, like, I don't know. She felt like those people standing in front of the grocery store wanting you to sign like the Greenpeace thing. And there are like all these, because we learned that the dinosaurs since the last movie are like roaming free. They're just out in the world. And she is trying to single-handedly like rescue dinosaurs. So we see her go to like a dinosaur farm. And she saves like a triceratops that's about to die, like a baby one.
That's being held illegally in captivity. There's a breeding farm in
Montana
or
it was
something.
so stupid, because then we see her driving through triceratops. It's just like, that's when I knew this was no good.
Yes.
Because the trailer looked like it might be interesting.
I didn't think so. Based on the past two films, I knew it would be cock-a-doodle. But it's another example of how a toxic combination of nostalgia and contractual obligations really ruin a franchise, because that's what this feels like. Because if you remember, and which I'm sure you don't, how Claire Dearing was originally sold to us as, remember, she ran Jurassic World in the 2015 film, and she was
That's Bryce Dallas Howard?
Yes, and was at odds with the ethologist played by Chris Pratt. And now she's kind of done a 180 and she's completely likable, when that's not how she was originally conceived.
Okay, then we get to the girl. And Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard have like kidnapped this girl, and they're like keeping her in like a cabin in the woods.
And she's experiencing, clone anxiety.
It's so stupid, because it's like, I don't understand. They keep saying that no one can see her because they'll take her. How long do they intend on keeping this girl locked in a cabin? And then she's like a teenager, so she's like, I'm trapped. You won't let me do anything. So she keeps sneaking out. And then she says, she's complaining like, I'm a clone. I'm not me. And then the mom says, you're the only you ever were, or what? Like, it's just some bad dialogue.
This screenplay is rotten through and through.
Then immediately, as soon as that girl like leaves the house, what do you call it when kids leave the house at night?
Sneak out?
When she sneaks out, she gets scooped up immediately. Like, okay.
Yes, because what's going on in the background is the Biosyn folks want her, obviously, and they happen to know, because of this guy named Rain Delacourt, played by Scott Hayes, has been scoping out and knows that Blue has given birth to Beta, and concurrently they need both of these specimens so that Dr. Wu, the geneticist, is able to see how exactly they work, so that they can,
okay,
so
can
that
we talk about that?
So that they can fix their mistake with the locust.
Okay, but I don't understand, like, Tim Cook, this is his plan. So then B.D. Wong is telling him, like, oh, I can erase what we did. And then Tim Cook is still saying, like, yeah, let's get them. So I don't understand why Tim Cook wanted the girl, if he knows that she's going to be the answer to stopping his locust plan.
He hasn't. It's really unclear, but from the conversation that Campbell Scott and B.D. Wong have, it's that Campbell Scott hasn't really quite come to the realization that the locusts really are a problem.
Okay. The first, like, 40 minutes of the movie feels like an old bootleg 007 film. Like, they're in so many locations. There are chase scenes. Like,
Two things. It reminded me of, because now we live in this world where there's a black market where these dinosaurs are being sold, and so we get this shot in Malta where there's all of these people selling these dinosaurs, and it reminded me kind of Star Wars.
I'm so confused with that part too. Like, the opening of the film is a news, like, expose talking about how dinosaurs are, like, destroying the world.
Which is really bad exposition.
Yes. So if that's the case, then why are we having people sell dinosaurs when they're just running around freely tearing shit up? Like,
Well,
I don't understand.
It's unclear that slowly they're being collected and sent to the Biosyn Islands. Which
It would
is
be
also
like selling vials of HIV when you can just go catch the shit easily. Like, I just don't understand why they're selling. I don't understand why they're selling dinosaurs when the dinosaurs are out here running amok.
Sure.
Okay.
So they end up in Malta because Chris Pratt. There's a villain played by Dyken Lockman playing Santos.
Is that lady who looks like Gia Gunn?
Yeah, she kind of does. Her and Scott Hayes are in cahoots, and they need to get Maisie and the Velociraptor baby to Malta, where they will lift off to Biosyn, and then there's this showdown, which actually is one of the best action films in the scene with the chase sequences, I thought, but it really pales into comparison to something that Ang Lee already did with Will Smith and Gemini Man.
Okay. The chase scenes annoyed me so much because there are moments when, like, the dinosaurs are chasing human, like, you know, like a human on foot, and the dinosaur can't catch them.
Sure.
And then it's not consistent. Like, there are times when the dinosaur's right behind her, and then next scene, the dinosaur's way back.
Are you talking with Bryce Dallas Howard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But then that same dinosaur, like, same type of dinosaur, is able to keep up with, like, a speeding motorcycle.
Yes.
I hate that.
Yes.
It's just so unrealistic that... And,
I agree, but still, that is one of the better scenes in this film. I'm not saying that's a good sign at all.
also, Tim Cook keeps talking about, like, money. Like, he seems like he's so concerned about how much things cost. But he has all of the money. I thought that was a weird... Like, whoever wrote this shit is like, why give him...
Emily Campbell?
I
Carmichael?
think that actor did a good job of sort of acting like a... He reminded me of the man from... I just lost it.
You've seen him in things. That's George C. Scott's son. He's been around since
But what do I know him from?
probably House of Cards, but he was, as a young man, was famous for dying young opposite Julia
No,
Roberts.
there's something we watched recently where he plays like a finicky, like persnickety character.
House of Cards.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
I also highly recommend The Dying Gaul opposite Peter Sarsgaard and Patricia Clarkson from like 2004.
So I do like Tim Cook. Who's that man?
Campbell Scott, the son
Yes.
of George C. Scott.
Okay. Something that really bothered me about this movie is the only person who should be on the poster besides a big ass locust is that black lady. What's her name?
DeWanda Wise playing Kayla Wells.
There needs to be an online petition
Okay, so she's...
to make her the poster and just her on it because she is the answer to everything in this movie.
Well, so is, and Mamoudou is as well. Yeah, you have these two prominent black characters that are the catalyst for everything working together, but they're sacrificial lambs. They have no interiority and they give up their livelihoods to save everything.
Okay,
especially in her case where she doesn't need to do that.
Okay, but that's what I was trying to explain. So her character is the one who is transporting the little baby dinosaur to Biosyn. Mm-hmm. But in the process, she sees that little girl being, like, trafficked. So she gets in her head that she needs to save her. And like you said, she risks everything to do it.
Yeah.
Her money, her livelihood, her own damn life to fly Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt to Biosyn. Then she's the most proficient at, like, defending herself in the situation once they're on this little island. Then she gets everyone off the island. Mm-hmm. Then they make her... I think that lady... What's her name?
DeWanda Wise.
I think she is very watchable, and I think she did a good job with what they asked her to do. My problem is, I didn't like that they made her like a sassy black lady. It just seems so unnecessary. Sure. And then the other characters are kind of like... I don't know, it made me uncomfortable, and I would love to know what other people think about... Not her, like, her acting, but, like, the choices that were made in the writing of this character, or maybe they didn't originally think it was going to be a black lady, and then once they did get her, they had her add this little extra to it. It just bothered me, and I don't know that I can really explain it, except that I think that character deserved to be like the star of the movie.
Sure.
We didn't need Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and this little girl. We could have just had Laura Dern, Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, and then the black lady, like, as the...
Sure. I think she's stunning to look at. And I think the discomfort is that she's relying on those kind of uncomfortable cliches. And also, for all of her running around, she has this kind of complex hairdo that is always in place that I thought was interesting.
Her hair was interesting.
But there's also this weird element that they sort of hint at but never really quite tease, that is she maybe attracted to Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, she might be a lesbian, and okay.
Because there's another moment where she's clocking that young woman she's trying to land on Biosyn. It's just an odd opportunity. And we've reviewed her work before. She was in Fatherhood opposite Kevin Hart.
There's one scene that I thought was really cool, and it's in the trailer, where Bryce Dallas Howard has to like go underwater to escape a big dinosaur bird.
Like this bird creature.
And then you see the dinosaur like with its mouth open right over her, and then you see her underwater. I thought that was a really cool shot.
Sure.
Jeff Goldblum is really the best part of this movie because his character is very self-aware about how ridiculous all this shit is. He has a lot of lines where he's sort of like primarily making fun of like Chris Pratt, and that worked very well for me.
It works well, but then it also points out that it makes them film kind of semi self-aware about how kind of stupid it is.
Then, okay, the Locust, finally Tim Cook decides that he needs to destroy the Locust, and they do that by setting the containment whatever ablaze.
Because it's evidence
that he did something wrong. And somehow, and there aren't that many locusts it seems, and somehow they break out through the HVAC like vents, and they're on fire. Mm-hmm. And they stay on fire. Like the fire doesn't kill them, and they don't and the flame doesn't stop. And then because these locusts are on fire, they set the entire island on fire.
Like charcoal in the grill.
That was a stretch to me. I mean, I don't know how...
There are many stretches.
Okay.
In this film.
In the screening we saw, I wrote down, people will clap at anything.
Yes, they sure do.
People were so excited at moments that were just like, I don't see it.
Well, again, nostalgia factor because there's clapping when Laura Dern shows up as Ellie Sattler. And again, I do really enjoy Laura Dern. I enjoy that it's kind of an ensemble film with a lot of women that are getting to do the same kind of capable things, which is interesting. But they straitjacket her into this like fan fiction scenario where she has this romance with Sam Neill.
That was so pointless to me. The relationship between Mamoudou and Tim Cook was interesting.
It was.
And I feel like it deserved a little bit extra because it seems like they have a very strong connection, and Tim Cook is really into Mamoudou. Like, he's his protege, which I thought was interesting, that this sort of weird guy would look at him and think like, he can be me.
Mm-hmm, like it's like his mini-me.
And I found that very interesting, but of course this film doesn't bother to go into it.
Also, this very technically proficient compound, and you have these people that you're suspect of, and you're not watching them like a hawk everywhere you go.
So stupid. I don't want to get into that. There's a scene where they have to shoot Beta, like to sedate her, the little baby dinosaur, and I thought that was funny because they have to like triangulate to get the... Oh, that's another thing. I hated how Chris Pratt handles the dinosaurs. He's always doing this thing, like focus on my hand, and then he's making these faces like, oh, I hated it. And then the scene where they have to shoot Beta, he's having Sam Neill do it. Ugh.
It just is apparent that he had no say in the formation of his character, because that is...
Okay, they keep talking about there's this, like, the biggest carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Gigantosaurus.
Gingangeosaurus that is, like, bigger than Tyrannosaurus Rex. And they keep playing this thing up, so I'm thinking we're gonna get like something that's really cool.
Because in the last two, there's a new hybrid dinosaur.
But then we see it, and it's like I wouldn't have known the difference between that one and the T-Rex, except the mouth is a little different, but it's not so different that it's cool. And then the final battle between the two, because you have to get the T-Rex against something. That was so anticlimactic because
the other apex predator, yeah.
Because at the point where those two creatures are fighting, the humans have already safely escaped.
Yes.
So it's like, and then the whole compound's on fire. So who cares about these dinosaurs? And then at the last minute, because the Ginganjay has the upper hand on the T-Rex, then all of a sudden that bird creature with the big claws just comes in and kills Ginganjay. Like in 2 seconds. So it was just such a I was so deflated over that.
But again, it's the same kind of ending that we've had in several other of because there's the sixth one. It's just so formulaic and derivative upon its it's cannibalizing itself.
My last note is B.D. Wong's character. Oh my god,
so bad.
he is so pitiful and I hated that hair. I just hated that characterization so much, and I was so confused with what the plan was between Tim Cook and his character.
It doesn't make any sense. In this, you just need... So then it shows him releasing this new genetically modified locust into the wild, and it's okay.
But then, okay, final thought is, if the message is we have to coexist, that does not make sense. The film started with, we cannot coexist with these creatures. They're tearing up all our shit. They're killing things. And then if we're concerned about the locust eating all of the crops... Aren't we concerned about all these big-ass herbivores eating all the plants and then all these carnivores that are a severe danger to everyone?
Blue would decimate the population of any kind of animal it's eating.
Yeah, we got velociraptors out here. We got
And also, I don't know that these dinosaurs would live in wintry weather. We get all these shots of brontosauruses.
Well, the final scene we see elephants walking with triceratops.
No, that's it.
Okay, and then we have whatever big whale would have prehistoric whale that's 10 times bigger than the biggest blue whale or whatever. We see them coexisting, but then the opening of the film is that same creature fucking up a ship. I just don't understand.
I totally forgot about this whole Lockwood. I kind of forgot about Fallen Kingdom and what really happened in that film. I had to go back and read about it. But James Cromwell was her grandpa, or her father, who raised her as a grandpa because she's cloned as his daughter. And so there's that whole... And he was a colleague of Hammond's, the Richard Attenborough guy that created Jurassic Park way back when. So it's we're so far removed, and we have to keep all these elements together, and it's just so overly complex in ways that aren't interesting. But I do find it funny, J.A. Bayona is obsessed with Geraldine Chaplin because she makes an appearance in all of his films, and there is an actual portrait of a young Geraldine Chaplin in this film, which feels so random that because she was the housemaid for this Lockwood kid, and then this kid that's so upset about being a clone is somehow assuaged by the fact that her own mother birthed her. How does that make it any better?
It doesn't.
That's more strange to me.
What I would have preferred is a story... What I thought we were getting from the trailer was a story about how dinosaurs have sort of infected our modern world, and how are we going to do population control. And we were going to get lots of scenes of different types of locations and dinosaurs tearing shit up. And I think that would have been more interesting.
It's doing the same exact formula, the same beats even, and at 2.5 hours it just feels so.
It felt long and busy.
And to think of the sense of wonder that was once created by Michael Crichton's novel and then Steven Spielberg's adaptation is completely gone. Yeah. And this feels like you could have plunked this in in the Godzilla universe.
Yeah.
With all of these creatures that are actually hard to differentiate. As you mentioned, it's just.
And I don't even know, the CGI is not bad, but it's not so great that I was wowed by it.
It's fine.
It's it's okay, which is also a letdown when we think about the first one and how magical it was to see these dinosaurs. So for all of those comments, I would give this film 1.5 out of 5.
You know what? I have to agree. I think if you are a fan of creature features and, are just a diehard for this franchise, it will give you something that you probably like. But at any other discernible level, it's just garbage. So yeah, I'd have to agree with that rating.
Anything else?
No.
Don't forget the thanks button. Listen to our podcast. Bye.